Hey, welcome to another episode of A Whiskey Kind of Day. I am your host, Gabriel, I am your host, John, along with Gabriel. Excuse me. It's a long week, bro. It's a very, 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 very long
Really
week.
long week.
How you how you been, man?
Man, I've been really good, brother. Just out here maintaining, surviving. It is hot. It is hot in Texas right now.
Bro,
Like it's not even like I don't even think I've experienced a summer like this where it's not in the hundreds, but
it's like the sun is on your neck.
yeah, it's just sitting, man. It's sitting in the 90s, in the mid and high 90s, day after day after day. I tried to plant some flowers, man, and they don't have a chance. So, and in fine whiskey kind of day fashion, today I had the pleasure of dropping my truck off at the repair shop to service my AC unit. And
wow.
what initially was a $60-$70 repair turned into a $1,400 AC repair.
Wait, what? That
Yeah, man, it was like one of those chain reaction type of things that if only you would have called it a day early kind of scenarios, man. My whole compressor burnt, melted, just a combination of Texas heat and it dying out. Hey, listen, I'm thankful that I have a second vehicle, so I wasn't completely out. And I'm thankful that I at least have the cash reserve or a credit card to because it could be worse, man. I could be driving with the windows down and drinking some beer trying to manage. I don't know, man. It's just one of those type of days, man, and summers in Texas, man. You just gotta love it, man. Welcome to a whiskey kind of day where we talk about everything.
including AC. Trust me, I know that feeling. It's and it's supposed to stay cool here in Cali, and for the most part, it has been, but we just get this heat. It's just beaming down on your neck, and it's not like. And you go outside like, Jesus, where's the breeze at? Ain't no breeze, ain't no nothing. And then we need rain out here too, because we're going through a drought now.
Oh, y'all going in a drought in Cali?
Yeah, a lot of these reservoirs out here in California are drying up. I mean, where they got to sit there and move the boats to another part of the lakes. It's getting real bad right now. Where they might have to start conserving water pretty soon.
That's all you get. Extra vain people taking 3 and 4 baths a day. That's what it is. Y'all burning through your water reserves.
It's hot, man. It's hot. Golly, what do you expect, man?
Y'all got more pools and oceans than anybody could ever imagine. Yet y'all sit in the shower for 14 hours. Come on.
Hey, listen, when I get done with this, I'm gonna go hop in the shower too. Come on, I'm hot. I can sit here sweating. What you drinking on?
I've turned my sorrows to some Uncle Nearest 1884. It has actually become one of my favorite go-tos at this point. So I'm thoroughly pleased with it. I took it off a recommendation of a good friend of mine, Marcus Tankley, out there in Cali, and he put me on it a while back, and I just never got around to picking a bottle up. So I recently did that a few months back, man, and I think that's probably my second or third bottle. I lost count at this point.
Oh wow, I'm not drinking Perrier anymore.
Oh really?
No, I'm not drinking. I'm drinking Topo Chico. So this is let me crack this open.
With the bottle opener. That's how you feel. You just go guzzle with the bubbles.
Do.
Oh. All right, Tyrese.
Always Topo Chico.
Wow. Don't quit your day job. If anybody ever said that to you, take it for full value. That's a heartfelt statement.
Well, we got an amazing show today. I've been researching this guy Marcedes, which is a very interesting name. Now, what does Marcedes do? Because it seems that this guy.
Listen, man, I had the honor and privilege of meeting this gentleman, probably a little over a year ago, and due to the pandemic, we never really got a chance to connect and in my style of business really network and cross brand and help each other out. And so I've had a chance to really watch him from a distance and everything kind of pulling up with social media. And this guy is phenomenal, man. Like he is. I've known him to be a motivational speaker, but then when I got a chance to really sit back and watch him do his thing, he's more than a motivational speaker. First and foremost, he's just an overall generally positive person, and that's one of those things that's rare, in a sense that you find someone that you feel is genuinely positive, genuinely happy for you, for life, for everything and everybody.
That's a rarity, man.
It's a rarity, man, and it comes from him, which seems so effortless, and I'm gonna ask him about that a little bit later. But it seems so effortless that that's just a genuine part of who he is, and because of that, I think he's turned that into a business. He found his niche, and he actually has a topic that he talks on, which is the title of this episode, "Profit from Your Purpose." And I believe that this gentleman has truly, truly tapped into that statement 100% as his purpose of being a genuinely good person and talking people up and talking life and positivity into people. He's turned that into a business, and he's become extremely successful over the past couple of years and continuing to climb in the industry of motivational speakers. He's a keynote speaker. He's an author. He's a media personality. You find him on TV shows all through Texas, speaking about current events. He's a millennial and Gen X, Gen Z activist, and he brings people together consistently for the greater good. And man, so I'm thrilled to talk to this guy, thrilled to learn and know more about him. And my journey with this gentleman is new, but I can truly see that we're going to be good friends for a really, really long time.
Millennials be happy for no reason. They just be happy all the time. Let's bring Marcedes in. Marcedes, how are you, my friend?
I guess I'm happy for no reason because I'm a millennial.
No, I'm serious. I have a radio show, and I have this millennial, and every day she comes to work, she's like, "I love my life," and I'm like, "What you got going on over there?"
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm grateful to be with y'all this evening. Y'all are definitely doing so many great things and putting inspiration right in the hands of the people who need it, which is all of us. So thank you for that. And thank you for having me today. I'm grateful to be here.
Absolutely, man. And in final fashion, Damien just chimed in and said he's pouring up him a drink. So kicking it off, Marcedes, what are you drinking today, brother?
Well, I am drinking sparkling water with caffeine.
Oh, come on. Hey, turn up.
The flavor of my sparkling water is cucumber lime. And let me tell you, I'm not at home right now. I'm doing hotel life right now. And
where's the mini bar? Get up the mini bar.
Don't have a mini bar, but what I did was, let me tell you how I prepared for this show. I brought my sparkling water with me, and I even wrapped my glass up with my M on it and everything, so that I could be in tune.
I can't even be mad at that. You went the extra mile for the sparkling water.
Yeah.
Okay, you get a pass. Done. I still
I'm over here popping bottles. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah.
Be full of milk, man. You acting real babyish right now.
So, Marcedes, you talk about your purpose.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What is that whole thing about?
So the thought after years of being on self-discovery, but then coaching people to find their thing, coaching people to find their it. The one thing that I consistently saw as a thread, be it corporate people or entrepreneurs or creatives, whoever, the common thread that I found is that once you find your purpose, you then find your power. And when you find your power, you can prosper in every area that you desire to prosper in because you know what you're bringing to the table. And it's all, purpose driven. When you think about the stuff that you've been called to do, the stuff that you've been created to do, the stuff that you desire to do, the stuff that keeps you up at night, if you let that drive, that's when you start to tap into that power.
See, man, I already see it now, man. We gonna leave this show and we're going to try to take over the world on some pinky in the brain type of stuff. Like, I already feel it, man. It's like running through my core right now.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's say, so the big question out there is, how does one find their purpose? Because that's not an easy thing. Some people know this is what I love to do. Some people are lost in jobs and careers or life, that they're just like going through the motions. Some people just don't know what they're passionate about at all. How does one take a deep retrospective look at themselves and say, let me try to find this purpose? Like, how do we go about that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's an amazing question. The first thing that I would say to do is give yourself permission to go on the journey to find your purpose.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Give yourself permission. And when I say give yourself permission, what you have to do is do the internal work, which sometimes one of the first things, which is one of the most painful things to do, is you have to mute all the other voices. The voices that, have told you what you couldn't do before, the voices that told you that you weren't good enough, the voices that told you we've never done that in this family, so how can you do this? All of those negative voices that contradict the journey that you're trying to go on, you need to silence those voices first and give yourself permission to go on the journey. And when I say give yourself permission, you have to understand, finding your purpose is a beautiful thing, but that journey is sometimes ugly. Because when you're on the journey to discover something, think about it. People who explore to find new territory, eventually they get lost. And getting lost sometimes is how they end up finding the thing that they didn't even know that they were looking for. So sometimes you have to get lost to find the thing that you didn't even know what you were looking for. But you have to give yourself permission to get lost, because getting lost is not the pretty picture that's going to be posted on your social media profile.
So let me ask you this, because we're diving into the self-help of things, but yeah. I want to back up and what is a life coach? What is a motivational speaker truly in the essence of? Because people say life coach, like, man, I don't need nobody to talk me on how to live. I'm 53 years old, man. I know how to live life. I done seen and done everything. Why do I need a life coach? So you're going to have that perspective as same as that young person that, man, I got all the energy in the world. I can take on any battle. I don't need anybody to tell me or coach me through life. So from your experience and what you gained in your field, what is a life coach?
So a life coach, a lot of people will get it twisted with a counselor or a therapist. A counselor's job, and I can speak on this because I'm actually in the process of becoming a licensed professional counselor and therapist. A counselor's job is to lead the client to their narrative. Because there are a number of narratives that we have to filter through. It's the stories that we've been taught, the stories that we've told ourselves, the stuff that we've learned along the way, and then one narrative is the truth. And you have to filter through all of those different narratives to arrive at the truth. So a counselor will be the facilitator to allow you to discover the correct narrative. The counselor is not an advice giver. The counselor is more of a person to facilitate a structured experience. But a coach will provide advice, but a good coach will walk you through that process. They'll guide you and they'll coach you, they'll cheer you along, and they'll give you the appropriate amount of space to do the necessary trial or error, make the necessary mistakes, drive in the appropriate successes and then coach you from that level to the next level.
That's awesome, man. And I have to assume that a success coach is the same, essentially the same thing, but from a business perspective.
Absolutely,
man.
They stick with you.
That is truly awesome, man.
What drove you into this? Like, what was your calling that said, this is something I want to do. I want to be this energy that energizes other people, that gets people excited about finding their purpose and helping them, either showing them how to walk and find the journey, or get where they need to be, or hitting them with a jolt of energy, say, wake up, let's do this. You can do it. Like, what brought you to that point?
There were certain things that I haven't been able to shake since a very young age. I was that kid on the playground that when somebody got hurt, I would run to their side and say, hey, are you okay? And I would pause everybody else from laughing and say, hold on, let's check in first. And then once we found out whoever was, injured was okay, then everybody go along, with their way. And I was that person that, when I saw peers struggling and I saw friends struggling with different things, I would try to find out what their issue was and how I could partner with them to help them. I've always been the type of person that if I had something, I recognized that I didn't have it just for me. I've always been willing to share the things that have been given to me. And I haven't been able to shake those attributes since a very young age. As far as speaking is concerned, I was always, thank God, I was that kid that teachers were like, hey, you're going to have a speaking role in the play. Hey, you need to stand up and read the spelling words. I was that kid. And so I couldn't shake it. My parents couldn't, my parents wouldn't let me shake it. And then teachers who saw something in me along the way, they wouldn't let me shake these things either. I can remember when I had to do a book report in fourth grade. I'll never forget it. Fourth grade was, over years ago. Fourth grade was years ago. I had to do a book report. And I asked the teacher, and this was before computers and PowerPoint and all that kind of stuff. This is real dated. I asked the teacher, hey, can you give me some of your transparency film? And can you allow me to use some of your dry erase markers? Because I would like to outline my book report, and I would like to share it in front of the class. And that teacher, now, this is one of those things that gets a brother emotional, but that teacher brought her camcorder to class that day because she felt that something was getting ready to happen. And that teacher has been one of my biggest advocates from that, from 8 years old all the way to this point.
Wow. That's dope. Like we need that as children.
Yeah.
We need that adult presence to kind of help us and boost us up and encourage us, because the world out here is constantly telling you, no, you can't do that.
Right.
Who you are.
Right.
You want to be some type of motivational speaker. What gives you the right to want to do something like that? Everybody, it's just so much negativity out in the world today, and having someone kind of walk with you while you kind of confront all that and move past it. Is a very precious commodity one can have in their life.
Absolutely.
No, man, I think that's also great. I was talking with a friend the other day about giving people their flowers. While they're still with us, man, and that's beautiful that you acknowledge the greatness that she saw and you did, which inspired the greatness that you've continued to perpetuate throughout your life and your career. So, man, that's really, really golden, man, and I hope this teacher is watching this or will catch this at a later date, and she continues to inspire people. So that's really, really gold. It really is. Let me ask you, so now that you've been into this business, what were some of the things that you found was a challenge or challenged you early on in you deciding to be in this career?
I think Don hit on it perfectly when he said, there's so much negative energy and so many people ready to say no.
Haters.
Haters from the jump. people who don't know anything about you, don't know anything about your product, don't know anything about what you have to offer, but they were just ready to say no anyway. And I've been accustomed to that. You know, I'm numb to no because I've heard it so much. And so that, you know, although that has been a challenge, that's also been an opportunity, because for every time I heard a no, what I took that to mean is try it again another way. Or go talk to somebody else, or
Yeah.
this is your moment to move on.
That's crazy that people will say no to somebody trying to speak positivity into your life.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
horrible.
Oh, absolutely.
Listen, I don't want your happiness.
Right. Well, and this is the thing, and I kid you not, I have heard that in a boardroom. I've heard that, you know, in client consultations, and that's the truth. Not everybody wants to be happy. That's why we have haters, because as you try to take steps forward, so many people see you being happy. So many people see you moving to the next level in your life, or trying to encourage others to do the same, and they're mad. You know, and you can't think of anything that you're doing negatively, but not everybody wants to be happy. And so learning that, if there was a tip that I could give an entrepreneur right now, learning that early on will bless your life. Know that not everybody wants to be happy. You have to know that not everybody is going to celebrate you. You have to know that not everybody can go with you. And part of that, yeah, and it's going to show up in the way that people treat you. Check people. You know, listen to what they say. Watch what they do.
I hear that, man.
Like, track people. I forgot the question, but yeah, you know, one of the major challenges was hearing no so many times. But then I flipped that to, you know, be an opportunity. Every no is an opportunity to do something different. Another challenge is, you know, starting a business with nothing. The thought of starting a business with nothing, because when I first started, I used to always say, I started with no money, I started with nothing. And I didn't start with nothing. I had ideas, I had thoughts, I had vision, I had purpose. So I started with something, but I had to figure out how to flip those things into the collateral that I needed to move forward. So technically, people have to, it's a linguistics thing. You have to check your language, check how you phrase that place where you are, check how you phrase your business, how you talk about it, because how you talk about it, that's how people will perceive it, and that's how people will address you. Is how you talk about your business, your ideas, your talents, and your gifts.
Man, that's awesome. You said you have to check your language. One thing when I was doing sales training some years back, that was one of the things that I focused on, being in front of salespeople in high dollar, high value products, is you can't use certain words with people. One of the words that I always hear is, well, to be honest. To be honest, such and such and such. Well, to be honest, and I say, if you say that to someone and say, well, to be honest, what were you before? You know, and so it subconsciously puts people in a negative place, and the intent is to disarm this person or to bring clarity to whatever you're trying to say. All the while, subconsciously, you are actually further arming this person, or having this person put up more walls and shields by your language. And there are so many key words throughout casual conversations that we fall into, you know, specifically in my field in sales, but in everyday life, we use different languages and we mean one thing, but those we fail to realize what we're saying actually create more obstacles than they do any good. So, man, you're absolutely spot on with that.
Yeah, one of the hardest things I've learned is that you have to fight people's subconscious. You don't even know that you're in a fight with it. That's the weirdest thing. You know what I'm saying? I can't even tell you how many times I've said one thing and my intent is a certain way, and then it comes back, they totally perceive it a whole different way. And it's like, how did you get there? But it's the combination of all their experiences up until this point in their life that leads them to perceive whatever you're saying in such a weird way. So tell me about I see you wrote a book, which is dope. I love it, man. I love it when people got the tools. Not only can I book you to go speak, but you got the book that's out there. The book While You Were Out from Work. What is that about?
So ironically, I wrote that version of that book. I wrote it in 2017, and I was pitching it to publishers because I envisioned a time where I saw a number of people out of work for different reasons. Mm-hmm. And I saw, people fighting a battle between purpose and position. Mm-hmm. Position because you have to get paid. Purpose, the thing that you really want to do. And that was a battle. That was a battle that I engaged in. I was in a position. I was doing good in the position, performing very well at the height of my career. But every day I was miserable because that was just a portion of my purpose, not all of it. And I knew I needed to be in a place and be in a position where I could really live out my full purpose. And so I started writing this book. And I said, I will not resign from this job until this book is done. This is my resignation. With that, I can leave because, when that's done, I can send it to the publisher. I can send it to my printer, whatever, and that will be that next move. Well, I was trying to pitch it to publishers, and they're like, this isn't relevant. This is what publishers were telling me. Publishers and literary agents, they were telling me this isn't relevant because there's not going to be a time where, millions of people will be out of work at one time. People will be fighting with their position and purpose, and then people will be fighting to go back to work. And that this doesn't make sense. That was
We've got two examples in one decade where that's happened. Two examples in one decade where that's happened.
That was 2017. And now some of those same people have circled back and said, hey, can we talk about your book?
It's so weird that, and it's disheartening also when people can't see the vision or even understand it.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with these agents and these publishers, they just can't see something that is right in front of their face. They don't get it. They don't have the forethought. If it's not hot and sexy and real easy to tell, they don't want to mess with it. And it's like, yo, I got the game in a book, and you could have had it right when everybody needed it, But I always look at when people turn you down or when people don't really understand you. I think that's God's way of sitting there and saying that's not where you're supposed to be. Maybe you're supposed to be doing this yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because the technology and the internet has allowed anybody to self-publish, to self-promote, to self-print, and sell the book your damn self now. You know what I'm saying?
And that's exactly what I had to do. I created a publishing imprint. Resigned from my job, sent my book to my printer the Monday after I resigned, orchestrated my first few book signings, met a few people, got on some TV shows, and that's, how we have moved ever since. And God has truly blessed, it turned into something bigger than what I even imagined. And now I'm looking at things such as writing another version of that particular book because now the topic is relevant, and now publishers and agents want to have conversations. So
you make a good point though when you said people are at work and they're miserable. Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of people can relate to that because I think a lot of people have got into the debt trap or the debt cycle. You know what I'm saying? Or they bought the home, or they got the cars, or they're over leveraging their credit cards, and they end up working these jobs. And maybe they're making a decent amount of money, but it becomes so tiresome at the end of the day. And it's like, how do I escape? And you had a plan that was bold. And I hate to quote Steve Harvey, but he always said that you got to jump. You got to jump the cliff.
Yeah.
You know, but what do you tell the people who kind of are in the same situation that don't have the courage that you have? Because
So,
it takes a lot of courage
yeah.
and you know, cojones to sit there and say, you know what, I'm gonna write the book and I'm gonna quit and in that order.
Right.
Can we talk about jump real quick though? Because it actually my personal story with that will answer this question. So I'm literally driving to work every day. And my job that I resigned from, I was a lead English language arts teacher. And within months, I was slated to be an assistant principal.
Oh, wow.
And I was good at those things, but I was just good. I could do the job with excellence. My students were performing. Whatever school I was going to be at, I was going to make sure that the school was performing. But it was just, like I said, a piece of the purpose. It was more to it. And every day I would drive into the gate at my job, I would just break down crying, because the school ironically had a gate that we had to buzz into. The gates closed behind us, and it was a traumatic feel. I'm sitting in my car every morning, dusting myself off because my kids are in front of the school building, ready to say good morning, all that kind of stuff, not knowing that I'm in there crying like a baby, and I was fighting every day. And so when I got to the end of my journey, in the classroom, everything began to get uncomfortable. The things that were comfortable before, it just started feeling uncomfortable. I mean, from the time of getting out of the car to walking in the building, walking to the classroom, that seemed like a longer and longer walk every day. I started getting sick, having body issues and throat issues, vocal issues, to the point where I had to have biopsies on my throat and 2 procedures. And my doctor was saying, your bodily stress is stressing your vocal cords. And you need to come out of that stressful environment. He said, because if you do not come out of that environment, you're not even where you want to be yet. You're not going to have the opportunity to make the livelihood or create the life that you want, because you're at just a piece of it, and you're fighting with that piece, and it's an endless battle.
Was it the job per se, or it was just the situation? I mean, like what was it that was just so?
It was a few things. It was a few things. Transparently, I was working with a leader that did not embrace what I brought to the table in that particular environment. Sadly, it was a brother that I thought that I could work with to really bring some great change and innovation and creativity into that environment. So that was one thing. It wasn't the students. Everybody's like, you left teaching because of the kids. My kids were great. Because I wanted to be that 4th grade teacher that gave me that opportunity. I wanted to be that teacher.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
And so I was that teacher for so many kids. I wanted to give those types of unique opportunities and experiences. I can remember having parents meet me at the barbershop with their boys, and saying, hey, bring your boys. My appointment is at 7 o'clock. Bring your boys. Now, I would always hold the boys to secrecy. Now, Mr. Fuller gets his hair colored and cover up the gray, and my barber performs certain tricks. Don't y'all be telling my business in the classroom, but I'll treat y'all to a few haircuts. Doing what we're missing right now. So It wasn't the kids. It was honestly the timing. I could look at so many different things that happened, but it was really my time to usher into, it was the time for me to move into this realm, move into doing this work, because in being in a classroom, And I have so much respect for educators because we need good educators.
Yes.
But I had to realize that my season in the classroom was done, and that my classroom it grew to, platforms and different places outside of the building.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I had to, everything was going to push me out of that. But I got to my last few weeks, and to the point where I'm calling my parents and I'm saying, y'all, I'm going to let y'all lay hands on me and pray before I drive to work. I will see y'all at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning on my way to work. And this one particular day that I'll never forget. Now, the weekend before this instance, I purchased Steve Harvey's book, Jump. And I said, when I find time, I would read it, because I just felt that something in there was for me. So I bought it, put it in my room, and kept working, but still engaging in this fight with purpose. So this one particular day, my mother prayed and she said, God, if it is time for Marcedes to leave, I'll never forget these words. She said, God, if it's time for Marcedes to leave this job, show him that it's time for him to jump. This is before 6 a.m.
Wow.
First period starts at 7:45. Tatum, one of my students, who never uttered a word in my classroom, who was scared to talk, this young lady met me at the door. Keep in mind, I already told y'all what my daily process was, so I'm in the parking lot crying now. So I can pull myself together, walk in the building, Tatum standing at my door with a gift bag. My mother just prayed less than 2 hours ago. I get the gift bag, Tatum walks away. I say, Tatum, can you come back, please? When you give someone a gift, have a conversation. Let them know what's going on. What did I do to deserve this? She shrugged her shoulders. I said, is this not from you? She said, my mother bought it for you. I said, well, did she buy gifts for, because we had friendly teachers. I mean, friendly parents, they would buy gifts for all the teachers and stuff. I said, well, did she buy everybody else a gift? She said, no, this is just for you. And I said, okay. I open it. It's Steve Harvey's book, Jump.
Wow.
My mother just prayed less than 2 hours ago. If it's time for him to jump, show him. I run to the restroom bawling. I call my mama and she said, what other example do you need? What else do you need?
Hey, listen. That is it.
That's it. Wow.
What else do you need?
Wow.
And
That's
so,
amazing right there. That's amazing.
Yeah. So shortly thereafter, I resigned. And it was a number of different activities that took place after that, where, kids were telling me, oh, you're better than this. It's time for you to go. 12-year-old child.
It's amazing.
12-year-old.
Hey, you didn't tell them to go sit down somewhere. Hey. Go sit down.
I had to go back to the restroom and pick myself up over again. These kids I thought two little girls were passing notes. I had never had the pleasure of catching students passing notes in my class. But this one day I was like, man, you got them. And so I let these girls pass a note for about 10 minutes. And I wanted to be that teacher. What y'all writing about? I want you to stand up and tell me what's so important. The girls slid the paper to me. They were sitting, passing a painting that they were drawing and coloring back and forth. They drew me standing on a platform with an audience full of people. Wow. And at the top, they put the question, are you a motivational speaker? Spell motivational wrong. But I got it. Here again, this is the same week. I'm bawling, crying. I had to go to the restroom again. I know the people thought I had a problem. I couldn't let the kids see that this stuff was breaking me down. But it was that fight between position and purpose.
Right.
And the young man that told me that I was better than where I was because he was watching the treatment. And when kids, now this is the thing, any teacher, if kids see you being disrespected and you don't stand your ground, you've lost control of your classroom.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And this child told me, I see how you're being treated. You're better than this. And this boy looked me square in my eyes, 12 years old, and said, I just want you to know that if you leave, they will find a replacement for you. What else do you need? Yeah. I was that teacher.
Validation.
What else do you need?
Yeah, it's coming at you from every angle.
Wow. I was jacked up that week. Same week.
Man, listen, I mean, you and I, we've been on the phone. We've talked about how accepting struggles in life and so forth. And I had this long conversation with a gentleman today about just accepting struggles and utilizing those struggles, but being grateful for the struggles.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to bring back is your line of business is personal. It's face to face. It's engaging. It's very close knit. It's very involved.
Yeah.
How did you manage COVID in such a dynamic where distance was mandatory, if anything?
Yeah.
How did you manage COVID?
Yeah. Day one of COVID, I had to make when the governor said we were on a mandatory lockdown. That day, you know, it was, if I be honest, it was like almost a depressing day for me, because prior to that announcement, so imagine us being at like March 12th or something along those lines, before the 15th. So imagine I had been on stage the whole year. So from January all the way up to my last in-person speaking engagement was on March the 6th. Mm-hmm. And I can remember these days distinctly. You know, I had been doing TV shows. I've been doing, you know, in-person speaking engagements and consulting gigs and all that kind of stuff. And in one day, when that announcement was made that we were going on, you know, the lockdown, that week was very tough because every time I looked at my phone or every time I logged into my email, messages started off with unfortunately, or as you might know, or as you probably guess, or we're not paying this deposit. We're going to cancel this conference. We're going to cancel this training.
Wow.
And so I started calling and watching the moves of other speakers and consultants, and a lot of my mentors are so much older. And so for some, they were like, okay, this is my retirement cue. For others, they were like, I've worked so much, I can take a vacation. And for me, I did not have that luxury. You know, I was laying in a bill, I was driving a bill, I was eating bills. You know, I didn't have the luxury to say I'm retiring or I'm taking a break. Like literally, I had one day to choose the path that I was going to take, and that the word that kept on coming to me, and it came to me early, but the rest of the word caught on later. The word was pivot. And so prior to the pandemic, watch this. Prior to the pandemic, about 75% of my business was on stage, in person speaking. About 25% of that was coaching and consulting. The pivot for me was flip your consulting into what speaking would do. flip coaching to what speaking would do. And the number one, the first thing I did, and this was before I had added a business model to it, the first thing that I did was I went down my client roster. And I was just being Marcedes. I called my clients. I didn't text, I didn't email, I called my clients. And I said, I'm checking in. How are you? I don't want nothing. I'm not asking for nothing. How are you? And how can I support? And what happened from just checking in has changed my life, because then clients started to say, you know what? We've never used you in this capacity. And we don't even know if you can provide these types of services. But what can you help us reimagine for our employees? What can you create? Because there was a lot of my businesses that I advised, they were essential employees. So a lot of these companies were struggling with getting their people to come to work because they were still dealing with the pandemic themselves.
Right.
So Marcedes, what kind of programs can we create? So I'm like, okay, we got a program for that. What kind of videos can you send out to my team? Okay, we got something for that. And I started to listen to the clients just from those check-ins. And that has turned into a whole new line of business for me.
How has the people you've been working with during the pandemic been? I mean, have you been finding out that this has been weighing so much on a lot of people, and that you're kind of right on time as far as you're kind of like some medicine that they need to kind of get them through this whole situation?
Yeah, it was tough because the organizations that I serve, you know, a number of the people that I service, they're parents. So they then turned into teachers and principals.
Oh, wow.
Their spouses. And so then whatever was going on with their spouse's work situation, they were bringing these things to work. And so there's some luggage that we can get rid of. And then there's some stuff that we carry that we can't. And so these people were bringing the stuff that they could not get rid of. You can't get rid of your children.
No.
You can't. So really and truly what we had to do, and this is what, some of my favorite clients that I work with, some of the things that we have done was, I said, if we get back to reminding your people about their purpose, they will play a greater part in the purpose of this organization. Focus on your people. Focus on your people. And sometimes, I was trying to encourage organizations to take on more of an entrepreneurial spirit. So, if there's something that we've never done before, but we need to do it now, let's create it. Let's give it a name. Let's do it. If there's a program that we need to create for our employees that we've never had before, let's do it. If we need to turn one of our employees into a tutor for some of these kids, who was good in your department, who was good in English, the person that writes contracts, they have to be good in English, so create, like literally doing magic, like performing magic tricks, but that's creativity. That's innovation. That's, being entrepreneurial and industrious and doing what you have to do. The number one thing that people leave out when it comes to being industrious and being innovative, they leave out the integrity piece.
Yeah.
And this is, the executives that I've been coaching since the pandemic, the biggest thing that I've been talking to them about is integrity. And the biggest thing that I want people to understand is, if you do the right things, and you do the right things for people, and you do right by people, the right results will happen for you.
Yeah.
Your people will work.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny though? They've done studies about that, and especially for the for millennials is that they want bosses to be engaged in them. They don't want to just show up and just go through the means of just working. Absolutely. They want bosses to really care about what they're doing. And for so long, so many corporations just treat a lot of people as a commodity to be fired and hired at will. And a lot of these companies are seeing now that they can't hold on to employees because they've treated their employees like garbage. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And it's good that you got in there and got the company to start thinking, how can I get my employees engaged? How can I take care of them? How can I check in with them to see what they need? And because people just want to feel like you care. Yeah. If you company feels like you care for me, or you give me some time off, or you just checking in to say what's up, and it's like, I'll work harder for you because I feel like, we've got a bond and a connection, instead of I work harder for you and you don't care at the end of the day. Absolutely.
That's one of the great things that a couple years back, Jeff Weiner, he was the CEO of LinkedIn. He became wildly successful from a personal standpoint because of his openness to talk about being a servant leader. And I think that is the new narrative, where in the past it was always like, crack the whip and make them work, versus now it's being that servant leader. People they follow by example. And it doesn't have to be the exact same thing, the exact same mode in which they're doing. They just want to see you put in the same effort and energy that they're putting in on a day-to-day basis, regardless of what your salary is, regardless of what your financial position is. It's just, are you putting in the energy? Are you giving it everything that you got when you come to work, just like I am? And know that I'm appreciated for giving it everything I got. So that is definitely the turn of our generation that we're really starting to see. And I think it's more relevant now because of the pandemic, because you can no longer hide it. You can no longer hide that energy that people want to work for nothing or not be appreciated.
Right. I have so much respect for millennials because they will not put up with it. They will quit in 2 seconds and go find another job, and it's so easy. My generation, I come from Generation X, we got the sandwich generation. We just dealt with all the negativity and the low pay, or the underappreciation, and the overwork, and working more than 8 hours a day, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what they was expecting you, because you're a salaried employee. Millennials, they will put you in check. I'm here from 9 to 5. My job duties are A, B, and C, and don't ask me to do anything else outside of that. And if you really want them to do stuff outside of there, plug into them and they'll work their ass off for you. Yeah. And I have so much respect for them, because they're really changing the landscape of how the employee-employer relationship, and forcing these employers to do business differently. Because for so long it's been like, they crack the whip. You lucky you got a job. I can replace you. Yeah. And that's like mental anguish that you're creating in an individual, where they leave work hyped up, and they take that crap home, and that home's jacked up because work is jacked up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Let me ask you this, Marcedes, kind of being petty here. Have you ever had somebody like that hired you, and then they just gave you pushback and contradicted and challenged everything that you tried to put in front of them? Like, what was that experience?
The reason why I'm no longer in the classroom.
I can't imagine, though, that they would hire somebody like you to go teach and wouldn't allow you to, because it wouldn't allow you to think outside the box and do things untraditionally, regardless of whether they believed in it. Let's see if it works. Yeah.
And the craziest thing, and this is when I knew, and again, it was my time to depart. But I knew, it was going to be a bit of an issue, because the year before I was with a totally different school system, and I ended up being a teacher of the year. So award-winning teacher, go to a new school, and brand new school. This was the first year that we opened. There were right at 25 other 6th grade language teachers in my same position. And out of the gate, our school was performing consistently in the top 5, but nothing was good enough. The first exam, the first district exam, I'll never forget these numbers. When I received my 6th graders, 12% were reading on grade level. By first assessment, which was 6 weeks after school started, 88% of the students passed. 88% of them passed.
Wow.
My principal said to me after we got those exam scores, because the district sent out a newsletter and they were asking the question, who is this Marcedes Fuller? And so the principal comes into my classroom and says, I'm not concerned about your little newsletter, because brother didn't even tell me about the newsletter.
I'm not concerned about your little old newsletter.
Not concerned about. Watch this. That's not the kicker. That's not the kicker. I'm not concerned about your little old newsletter. I'm concerned about the 12% of the kids that you missed.
Wow. So he's not even like, hey, look at what I did. Give me some more time and I'll get those 12%. We went from 12 to 88. It's you missed 12.
Yeah. He said, they're celebrating the 88, but I'm concerned about the 12 you missed. I'm like, oh my gosh. And the thing is, at that point when we were talking about, millennials, I was talking to another one of my colleagues at another school, and she was performing. We were neck and neck with our performance, and sometimes some weeks she beat me, some weeks I beat her. And I asked her, I said, what are y'all doing different that I'm not doing? She said, well, my principal partners with me. I said, what do you mean?
Oh.
She said, my principal will give up lunch to come in and tutor my kids. My principal will come in and be my co-teacher. Like,
that's what's up.
Yeah. And so my principal was coming in to critique me.
Right there.
Yeah. My principal was coming in to critique me and would call me out in front of students. I'm confused by that. You might want to do that again. In front of students. And so, when I saw that I did not have that partner, and that's, that was that thing, where I said, oh, we're not going to do too much of this now. You're not going to make me look a fool in front of no 12-year-olds now. It's going to be time to go. So it was constant pushback. And that was, from the beginning. And I knew that it wasn't going to be long before, I would be stepping aside from something that I love, but it was only, keep in mind, it was only a piece of the purpose.
Right.
And I'd even told him, at the beginning of the year, I don't think that we're going to make it to the end of the school year.
Wow.
I knew that. I knew it.
Wow, Marcedes, you have an amazing story, and I love that you're living in your purpose. And I really love that the empathy that you have for your kids, you are now having for the world out there, and really trying to help people succeed and help people kind of, find their purpose and find the prosperity, and prosper at the same time too. MarcedesFuller.com is where you can go get the book right now. I'm gonna hold you to writing the next book though, because we need the next book. And anytime you got something going on, man, you got a home here with us. We love the energy. We love brothers that are doing an amazing work and helping people. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we need.
Yeah. But I'm going to ask you this last question, because I think this is something that I've always wanted to. I always try to promote and put out there. You being a positive person, you being someone full of energy. I feel like I'm a positive person on a general basis. I feel like I'm full of positive energy, and I try to continue to move in positive light on a daily basis. But with someone like you that's not only living a positive life, but also coaching people into positivity, into success, into being a better version of themselves, do you have to coach yourself? Do you have times where you're struggling to be you?
Good question.
And that energy to be that support system for other people.
Because it's draining out here.
Every single day. I generally, I'm motivated. I'm pumped. I'm excited about others. I'm excited about, seeing others move forward. Always want to motivate and inspire. But it takes work because you have to protect that. You have to protect your mind. You have to protect your heart, especially when we're living in a world where the world has gone mad. It's so many negative people, so many negative forces. It's motivation, inspiration, true happiness. You have to fight for those things. You have to fight for it. And this is the thing. When you get to a place of peace, I told somebody the other day, she was talking about, my schedule, and Marcedes, do you sleep? I said, like a newborn baby. She said, well, how are you able to sleep? You're so busy. You have so much going on. I said, typically when people pass away, there's that popular quote that we always say, rest in peace. And I started to have a problem with that a few years ago because I was hearing it more and more and more and more. I said, you know what? The thing that I wonder is, why do I have to wait until I pass away to rest in peace?
Peace.
I want to rest in peace and still be alive. I want to, and the way that I can rest in peace, this is how I rest. This is my formula. I watch the things that I say to people. I watch how I treat people. I watch the actions that I commit in a given day. And if I can rest with those things, I sleep good at night. So not going to bed packing negativity based on something that I did, so clearing the slate every night and waking up ready to go. Not saying that every day is perfect and things don't happen. I have challenges. I have, problems just like the next person, but it's what I do with them. I see them as areas of opportunity. And then I take whatever happens in a given day. I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity today. This is my opportunity. I had a interview right before logging on, minutes before logging on with my hotels. One hotel gave me issues. I crossed the street. I said, I got things to do. I'm gonna deal with y'all in about 2 hours. But right now, I'm going to cross the street because I have something on my schedule. I can't miss the moment. So I had to turn off the negative. Yeah. Came across the street. A brother at the front desk said, listen, I can tell you got things to do. We're going to get you into your room on time. You might have a minute or two to spare, but we're going to get you in on time. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make it right. So once he said, I'm going to make it right, and you're going to be able to carry out your mission, that completely changed my mindset. So it's all in what you say to yourself. It's your language that you use. It's how you take a moment. And I could have exploded. I could have, if I would have exploded, and if I would have taken on a negative attitude, I would have missed the moment to be a part of this.
Right.
So I look now.
Really amazing.
Yeah.
Now that I look at it, all of those things that were happening before, less than an hour before this podcast, it was the devil's way of setting me up to miss my moment.
Yeah.
And what that would have done was it would have held back the inspiration that somebody else needs in this moment that we've been ordained to provide in this moment.
Absolutely.
So all of that, I bet you if I go downstairs right now, those issues that I had an hour ago wouldn't even be an issue now.
I love the jewel that you just dropped. Turn off the negative. And
Turn
because
around.
listen, the devil don't sleep. The demons are out there at work, and they will try to hit you with a pop quiz, and they want you to fail every single time.
Every day. Yeah.
Every single time. And I have to catch myself too, because people hit you with just such ridiculousness that you're like, you just get offended. So like, what is this? But you gotta turn it off and like, you know what? I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm good. I'm gonna find a way to facilitate my needs if you throw a roadblock.
Absolutely. And you know, the one thing that you have to recognize, there's a time and a season for everything. And one phrase that I use now, I know my family is tired of it, but I always say, this is not that. This is not that. This is not the time for that. This is not the moment for that. If I have purpose, I need to focus on purpose. The purpose for 7 o'clock was getting on this podcast. I recognize, and this is what people that have purpose need to recognize, there are going to be forces trying to stop you from operating in your purpose.
There you go.
The more force and opposition that you feel against you, keep going, keep running at it head on, because those forces are trying to slow you down from getting to that place.
Yeah, it's actually a sign you're close.
Absolutely, you're close. You're close. You're close.
When the devil starts bringing out every trick in the book, you are getting very close to where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
Don't give up and don't resign. Just stay on your P's and Q's.
Listen, man, I'm a little quiet over here because I'm just receiving all of this energy, and my glass is empty for the second conversation. But man, this is absolutely phenomenal, amazing. I love the energy. I love what you have to say, man, because again, it you can just genuinely tell. And if I had to do a business analysis or assessment on you as a business person or your business as a whole, I can absolutely say that the thing that makes you successful is the fact that everything that you say seems like it comes from the heart, is genuine, it's for all the right reasons and for all the hope in the betterment of whoever's in front of you. And I think that is what makes you a special individual, man. Because like I said, man, I've known you, but I don't know you. But we're getting to know each other, man. But the little that I do know, man, I am thrilled to know that I have a place in your phone book, man. That alone lets me know that we got greatness to build on in the future, man. And I applaud you for everything that you're doing, man. And I am excited to sit back and cheer you on and watch all the greatness that you have to deliver to this world, man. You
made me feel better today. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you need it with that sparkling water.
You see the haters, they around everywhere you go.
Sometimes haters are just telling the truth.
Look, I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate what y'all are bringing to the world, because we need this. We need more platforms like this, because it's these platforms that help people live out their purpose. So, thank y'all so much, number one, for having me today. But thank you for how y'all are just truly, y'all are changing the way that we see the world just through your platform. So thank you.
Thank you for being a part of it. MarcedesFuller.com if they want to book you, if they want to buy the book, or just reach out to you. And make sure they follow you on Instagram, Twitter. Thank you so much for hanging out. You got a home here anytime, okay?
I appreciate y'all.
All right. Thank you, Marcedes. Appreciate you. Oh, wow. You talking about what an amazing conversation.
Man, listen. Going into this, I already knew it was going to be a great conversation, but I had no idea that we were going to be able to witness so many jewels, so many moments of positive gems to be given.
He said, turn off the negative. Like, wow, like I didn't know I could turn it off. I thought it was just there. Hey, man, it's like you make a choice to sit there, whether or not
you make a choice. Everything is a choice, man. And I literally had a conversation not even 5 hours ago And I was talking to a gentleman and we were saying, and what I was saying to him was, man, you have to kind of go through these moments in life with gratitude. That just accept it for what it is, find the benefit out of it, and appreciate that you've been able to experience it, you've been able to live through it, you've been able to survive it. I was at the auto shop, as I said earlier, my AC went out of my truck, and the guy came back and he was like, it was $60 from $60 of just refilling my truck with antifreeze to I need a whole new compressor and a new line. And to be frank, he showed me the line, he showed me the compressor, so I know he wasn't trying to jib me out of money. But the fact that it went from $60 to $1,400, and the guy in the lobby, he was like, man, sometimes you just have those days. And I said, well, you know what? I said, you do. And I'm grateful that I at least have the ability to get my truck fixed, and for that alone, I'm thankful because I could be riding around in the heat, and that's a choice. That's an absolute choice of a mindset. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about, his industry as a whole and the people that are genuine about their position as success coach and life coach and motivational speakers, that they're literally speaking people into positive mindsets to do greater things, be greater people, be better people, and hopefully just better members of this society, man, 'cause we really need it.
It's the world is getting into a weird place, and I think people like him is exactly the medicine that it needs, because everybody's at each other's throats. There's so much animosity, so much hate, so much division, and we need more. We need a movement of people preaching love, preaching happiness, preaching turn off the negativity, preaching positivity. It's just that's the message we really need right now, and I'm glad that there's people like Marcedes out there to help us out with that.
Yes, sir, man. Listen,
how's the FUBU store? This broadcast being brought to you by FUBU Mobile in Dallas. Where can they go check out the store?
Hey, man, we're doing amazing. In the words of Marcedes, man, we are pivoting. Everything is I'm not everything, but we are pushing hard to make everything accessible in its full nature from an online platform. So from that, we just did a stress test on some of the delivery services, and we was able to accomplish a good portion of that in fulfillment. So anything you need at this point when it comes to cell phone services, lines, cell phone products can be done by way of internet. Like you can get financing through the internet service, and we can get your phone taken care of. The only thing I can't do is repair your phone by way of the internet. I need that in store. But at some point, we're going to get some Star Trek, Beam Me Up, Scotty, on. And we're going to get that figured out. But other than that, man, I am energized about the new things to come. FUBU Mobile Store. I need to get you down here. Me and a couple good friends, we've been able to start a nice medically restoring, body restoring massage studio.
Oh, wow.
Really excited about just to really bring more energy and positivity and actually getting people physically into a better place versus just a relaxing massage rub down, if you will.
Right.
Actually, a massage is going to be beneficial. We're working on all of those things. So, man, I'm just out here trying to make the world a better place, one business at a time. That's just who I am.
Love it. What's the address if they're out in the DFW area? Do I think check you out?
You can go. We have the massage studio. We're doing a physical location. It's going to open up here soon, but we're also doing in-home stuff. You can go to Relax at AIM. And the physical address, man, I got to do better and find out. I know how to get there, but that's how new the place is, man. I'll put it in the comments.
We'll figure it out. Well, listen, man, tell the family I said hi. I got to go get ready for another radio show at 9:00 tonight here in LA. If you're out in the DFW area and you got some time, download the KBLA app from the Google Play Store, Apple App Store. You can check me out. I have a show called Donna Michi versus Everybody, Krista and Kiara, which is on the air from 9 until midnight. So big things are happening.
Before you get too far, so tell me a little bit about what exactly is Donna Michi versus Everybody.
It's a show that basically is my opinion, and which is very unpopular to a lot of people, and it's everybody fighting against me. But no, we dissect a lot of things. We really debate a lot of different issues. Like we were talking yesterday about should Black Lives Matter, which primarily focuses on police brutality and oppression by the criminal justice system, but should they shift into the Black community to stop all of the violence that's going on in the Black community? Should they expand their operation so that they're stopping the killing on all sides? And that's something that we have conversations like that at night. Should we do that? Because one YouTuber was out asking that question. I was like, it's a very legitimate question to ask. So we have a lot of conversations that involve the community, the Black community, POC community, and we throw some entertainment stuff in there at the same time. It's a 3-hour informative, educational, hilarious ride with different opinions from millennials and some Gen Xers from different walks of life. So it's a great conversation.
Man, I think that is the most. In the essence of this show, I think that is your purpose. Since I've known you, you have said the uncomfortable thing, whether you truly believed it or not. You said it generally just to get people to think beyond their comfort. And I truly think that is one of your greatest gifts is you don't let the naysayers, you don't let the negative energy, the people that hate you for it, and for some odd reason, people take this man extremely serious with every word that he says, and they come for him as if they're ready to light torches in front of his house, but not knowing that you're a talent and a gift to make people think outside of their comfort zone. And I think that's your purpose, man, or one of your many purposes that you give to the entertainment radio space. Man, and I'm always on your team of cheering you on, man. And
man.
The show I already know it's a continuous battle.
It's an amazing. We got a young millennial on there who kind of really I really appreciate, because she brings a whole different perspective and a whole different set of eyes from a younger generation, and it's a well balanced show with me and two women just approaching topics and how we all see things differently, and just try to sit there and find some middle ground.
That's more of what this world needs, man. Finding middle.
Bro, that's all it is. All right, I'm gonna let you go. Marcedes, thank you again for hanging out with us. It's been a whiskey kind of day with Don Amici and my man Gabe out in DFW. And
I am Gabriel. He's
listen. I got a gift for you.
Word.
Hold on, real quick before I go.
I'm gonna sip while I wait.
I'm gonna send this to you. This is a book called The Field Guide to Whiskey.
That is all right.
So I'm going to send this to you. I'm going to mail it to you. Okay. It's a field. So I was like, you know what? I know the perfect person who would love this.
Would it teach me how to make a fine whiskey moonshine or something of that nature? Or is it just giving me history? It doesn't matter. I still want it. It's cool.
You know what? I don't. This book is a must for all whiskey lovers. So I don't know how to conduct a tasting, the proper way to store whiskey, what you might want to add to water, what you might want to add water to your whiskey, but skip the ice. I don't know. So it's a bunch of stuff, but I kind of figured you would love it.
I'm excited already.
I'm mailing out.
I think this is the show right before your birthday. So
yeah,
your early birthday. Don't do anything crazy. You already know we got crazy, so don't do anything crazy, man. Enjoy your birthday, and yeah, man. I look forward to seeing you on the other side of that next year.
All right, I'll catch you on the next show. Be safe.
All right, brother.
All right, bye-bye.